The games you'll see in this video are games that a lot of us either wanted to play or have played already. They are big, but somehow they just kinda disappeared from the conversation. So what happened to them? 30 here, and we'll talk about 10 of these games in 2023 that we just kinda forgot. Starting with Overwatch was the hottest game in 2016. It garnered over 50 million downloads and multiple Game of the Year awards. And then things just kinda went stale after that. This sequel was supposed to be the spark that Overwatch needed to get things back on track. Unfortunately, that wasn't really the case.
It wasn't that difficult. You promise something, so you deliver it. That's all you have to do.
First, it promised a PvE story mode with dynamic skill trees, and then it under-delivered
2 thumbs down
with a seasonal story mission that you still had to pay for. Things got so ironic now that players prefer the old gacha loot boxes instead of this new battle pass system, which just sucks for new players because they have to pay real money to get the better skins. And Jeff Kaplan's departure did not help either. Since then, the team seemed like it was scrambling to do something, fixing the GOAT meta and introducing new characters and events. All of which never really addressed the main problem though, which was, at least for me, that it was basically the same game for 7 years. We were still picking the same heroes, playing the same meta, and doing the same seasonal activities. And for a while, the competitive scene went stale, and then player interest dwindled. It sucked really, because Blizzard had this moment in their hands, yet they chose to abandon Overwatch 1 to make room for Overwatch 2. Well, at least the good news is, Overwatch 2 is seemingly getting better this season, and the heroes aren't as overpowered as they were before, so the meta is stabilized, at least for now. But the question is though, can Blizzard ever recover? Diablo IV. I know what you're thinking, but this game just came out. Yeah, Diablo 4 is a great game, don't get me wrong. It was a step in the right direction for the genre-defining ARPG. The promising endgame content, Lilith, and its dark visual design are just some of the reasons why everyone went nuts over it. But something isn't sticking.
Sounds broken.
I think it's that people are sick of the seasonal grind. I know I don't want to grind for another battle pass and bring it to level 50 every single season. I don't want to be doing the same Helltides and Nightmare dungeons for the foreseeable future.
Over and over again.
There's also the balancing issues that just made things less fun. They nerfed Necromancers, which were so strong and so fun to mess around with.
Holy fuck, that's not fun.
And for some reason, they buffed the wrong classes.
That's 179 million damage.
But as I said, Diablo IV just came out, and these early stages deserve the benefit of the doubt. So let's just hope Blizzard manages to increase player retention and add more rewarding content. But right now though, Baldur's Gate 3 just came out, and I'd really rather play that. Capcom's latest Resident Evil title sold like hotcakes. It was all the talk for the first half of 2023. Everyone was gushed about how great Leon and Ashley looked, but some were more excited for the familiar scares. The Las Plagas threat were already terrifying back in 2005, and facing them in high definition was truly something else. But like all great single-player titles, especially Resident Evil games, it doesn't usually last that long. Once the credits roll, there's not really a lot of activities for casual players to return to. Hardcore RE fans would challenge themselves with higher difficulties in speedrunning though, but that's a topic for another time. Losing players after finishing the game isn't strange for the RE titles. It happened to RE Village and even RE2 Remake. Once its 16 hours or less campaign wore off, we've moved on to the next game and there's really not much to talk about after that. Not unless there are DLCs that could get people talking about it again. The only thing I'm looking forward to in this remake is the Ada Wong DLC, and maybe a Code Veronica remake in the future too. Nioh put Team Ninja on the map for Souls-like gamers. It was just the right mix. It's challenging, it has a fascinating lore, and satisfying gameplay. So it's only natural for us to expect big things from their latest IP, which is Wulong. It isn't trying to be another Nioh though. It didn't had stances and the usual dodge and strike gameplay. More than anything, it's more like Sekiro. As much as I enjoy hearing the clanking of metal, it was hard to do anything with some of the performance issues it had on launch. As a result, Wulong's chief fizzled, and it hardly even survived the review bombing on Steam. And the sad thing is though, it's not even a bad game. It sold millions of copies, The poor PC port just left so many eager players frustrated.
Oh my.
Guys, my entire PC crashed.
And this isn't the first time Team Ninja fumbled a port either. It's too bad because if you ask me, Wulong is still a fun romp around ancient China, and more DLCs are still to come, and hopefully Team Ninja can stick the landing this time. Atomic Heart's trailers were so good, they got everyone pumped. It even had the Russian Soldier Boy promoted in one of its trailers. And don't get me started on those twin ballerinas, am I right? After all that marketing and sexy robots, the game never lived up to expectations. It was exciting to have a mix of first-person shooting with light open-world elements like Russian Bioshock with robots instead of big daddies. Except none of those had much impact in the face of its mediocre story and a boring protagonist. Playing SP3 isn't as emotionally rewarding as playing, say, Booker DeWitt from Bioshock Infinite. He's just a man on a mission with no emotional weight to its dystopian world. There was also controversy circling around its political themes, notably with its story being tied to the USSR. Yeah. It just wasn't the Bioshock spiritual successor I expected, and a lot of people felt the same way either. Sure, it was fun playing around with guns and powers, but that was it. The alternate steampunk Russia can only do so much to keep the thrill going. If anyone has mastered seasonal drip feed content, it's Destiny 2. I used to love how there's always something to look forward to in every season. But unfortunately, the live service model hasn't changed much, and a lot of players, even longtime Destiny 2 content creators, are getting tired of the grind.
Wasting my time, wasting my money. Fuck that game.
Like a modern-day Sisyphus lifting the traveler's weight. The shady seasonal model and the hours needed to get that perfect weapon just aren't worth the hassle anymore. The only thing keeping a lot of players going is FOMO, and it only got worse with Lightfall, which according to a lot of Destiny players, was filler content with no huge stakes to its light and dark story. Sure, the new subclass was a great addition, but it felt like it was just forced into the story without making a huge fuss about it. I still don't know what the Veil even is. It seemed like Bungie is on the case though, remedying concerns with state-of-the-game updates and new balancing patches. However, its new season just dropped, which added more story beats and seasonal content for months. Not only that, its most anticipated expansion, the Final Shape, comes out next year. But who's to say if enough has changed in their upcoming content? Well, for now, it seems like my Guardian will still be stuck doing the same thing again and again and again. Dead Island 2 released in the midst of such stiff competition that it hardly had a chance. It wasn't because nobody gave a crap about it, but when you're releasing at the same time as another zombie game and the new Star Wars game, it's hard to get some time in the spotlight. Although a lot of people were looking forward to playing it, it wasn't the most punctual of release dates. By the time it came out, most players were already itching to get their hands on the next big game. It doesn't mean that the game was terrible though. It sold 2 million copies and it's a major success after multiple changes in its development cycle. Right now, there's just nothing to do aside from messing around with zombies and strolling around post-apocalyptic Hollywood. And like all single-player games, it's bound to lose steam once you've seen the credits roll. There was so much excitement and drama when we found out that we're getting a Harry Potter RPG. I couldn't wait to step inside the halls of Hogwarts, attend classes, and play Quidditch, which unfortunately isn't in the game.
This year's Quidditch season has been cancelled.
The wand waving and incantations were the main selling point of Hogwarts Legacy, and it was fun spellcasting and exploring Hogwarts' nooks and crannies. The story wasn't exactly as revolutionary as the books, but it had characters I've grown to love. The most memorable for me being Sebastian and Ominous' story. But once the magic wore off, people started asking about future DLC plans that Portkey Games had no plans for. There was so much potential to expand on its story and characters, and without DLCs to back it up, there's just no reason to apparate back into Hogwarts. They could add more missions for each house if they want to. The unique house missions were great, but it felt like they just flew by. Its 15 million copies sold is no joke, so it wouldn't be crazy to think that something better is coming from them, right? At least give us a Quidditch DLC. Now here's one that actually hurt me. Compared to previous Amnesia releases, the bunker had fewer players, which is sad considering it's such a good game. Imagine being stuck in a derelict World War I bunker, being chased by whatever this thing is. There's a constant dread navigating around this labyrinth of nightmares. Frictional Games' latest Amnesia was unfortunately caught in the crossfire between Diablo IV and Street Fighter VI's release. While everyone was out there talking about necromancer nerfs and character combos, the bunker was scuffling out in the corner waiting for a jump scare. Some critics and gamers are claiming this to be the best Amnesia since The Dark Descent, and that's a huge stake. Whatever Frictional Games is cooking up to next, I'm looking forward to it. You can't just play Wild Hearts without saying, hey, it's just like Monster Hunter. When you're competing with a game as big as Monster Hunter, you're bound to get a few haters, and that's what exactly Wild Hearts got. The combat is good enough, but the endgame content just wasn't up to par. After taking down even powerful kimonos, you'd think you'd have newer and more powerful gear to unlock. It doesn't help that it had performance issues at launch either, and a lot of PC users complained about the jarring frame rate dips. And while things have improved since then, a lot of players have already skipped it altogether. Just like many of the games in this list, it's still so much fun, and the Karakuri system, arguably the best part of the game for me, is something I'd love to see more of. But then again, in Wild Hearts, we've seen most of what it offers in Monster Hunter. That's the danger of making games so closely tied to one another. The comparisons are endless, and if you're not exceeding expectations, people are bound to choose the more well-established title. But don't worry, the good news is Wild Hearts is still kicking, and we're still getting downloadable content soon.